The syllabus considers the unique needs of all students in line with the K-2 curriculum framework and statement of equity principles. It highlights fundamental information, understanding, abilities, values, and attitudes. It established explicit expectations for what children are expected to know and be able to do in grades K-12. The rationale for the syllabus states that personal development, health, and physical education, also known as PDHPE, develops the knowledge and understanding, skills, and attitudes students need to take positive actions to protect and enhance their own and others' health, safety, and well-being in a variety of contexts. Physical education is essential for the development of movement skills and concepts that enable children to engage in a variety of physical activities with confidence, competence, and originality. The syllabus's objective identifies three primary concepts: knowledge and understanding, skills and values, and lastly, attitudes. The knowledge and understanding component enables students to demonstrate a grasp of strategies that develop a sense of personal identity and help students build a relationship. It also provides an opportunity for children to show what they've learned about movement, ideas, talents, and techniques for responding with self-assurance, skill, and originality in a wide range of physical activity settings. The skills component enables students to form and maintain respectful relationships, engage with others successfully and politely, and speak out for their own and others' health, safety, welfare, and participation in physical activities. In early stage 1, the PDE 10 syllabus introduces students to interpersonal skills for interacting with people effectively. Students will acquire the knowledge and the abilities necessary to analyze their capacity to create and sustain respectful and inclusive relationships in a range of groups. According to the game sense, philosophy, sports should be approached as games rather than as a series of activities. With this method, students are put in a position where they are continually challenged to make decisions, employ strategies, solve problems, and develop their abilities throughout the course of a class. Students acquire not only the necessary competence for a healthy lifestyle, but also the ability to express themselves creatively, interact with others, and resolve conflict through this method. Students can learn the advantages of physical activity and the skills and knowledge, both social and physical, to incorporate physical activity into their lives in a way that is safe and fulfilling in a well-organized and planned physical education program. In accordance with the movement skill and performance outcomes of the PD3 11 syllabus, by the completion of stage 3, students should be able to select, manipulate, and modify movement skills and ideas in order to construct and perform successful movement sequences. Game Sense has several advantages since it allows teachers to deal with each student's unique needs and abilities. Game Sense emphasizes the use of adapted, small-sided games that retain key tactical frameworks but are tailored to accommodate players of varying ages, heights, skills, levels, interest, and motivation skills. Teachers can do this by creating a series of adapted games that increase in difficulty over time. At the end of the lesson, students will be expected to demonstrate their ability to play the entire game or a modified version that was created by their teacher. Throughout this unit in primary health and physical education, we learned so much in our tutorials. So tutorial 1, we actually just began the first lesson by having a class discussion through the use of positioning and continuum exercises for PE. So a number of questions on our school-based physical educational experiences were asked. We were told that the front of the class was for agreeing and the back was for disagreeing. In this particular tutorial, what I found interesting was that it allowed us as students to have an open discussion based on our experiences, which I thought was very interesting. We were asked if our main PE experience had been mainly positive. The majority of the class agreed, and I agreed with them because PE was incredibly exciting and pleasurable for me as a child. PE was probably my favorite subject in primary school since I was quite active and sporty. However, a minority responded that they did not have a great experience. They expressed a sense of self-consciousness when they were in primary school, because it was clear to the class that they were amongst those that struggled with PDHP. They felt embarrassed, and that was not engaging for them at all. That sparked my interest, as I assumed many students enjoyed PE as much as I did. However, I believe that here is where the game sense theory would come into play in my teaching pedagogy personally. Based on the PDHP curriculum, I would utilize the following tactics to work in group scenarios. I would gather students of varying levels to work together and then work constructively with a partner when practicing a new skill. Students can practice their abilities by working with a partner or a small group to complete a movement, task, or challenge, and most importantly, by mirroring a partner's movements. In the second tutorial, we learned several strategies for interacting with our future students and this was spoken to us in our last lesson, in our last tutorial. We began by discussing the benefits of using switch-on exercises, which are similar to warm-ups, but shorter because they are centered on the lesson's central concept. Acknowledging all students' perspective was the one principle that mostly closely aligned with my own approach to teaching. In my opinion, a good learning atmosphere is one in which everyone's ideas are recorded and considered equally before being dismissed. I personally suffered from severe social anxiety as a student who came from a refugee background. Since I felt like no one understood me and no one would use my ideas, I felt a little left out. And I've learnt to tread carefully as I pursue a career as a primary school teacher, but I'm resolved to make sure that every one of my students, despite their unique backgrounds, feels welcome and respected in my classroom. I'll make sure the one thing that I really did was a great idea that was presented to us in that presentation slide was the use of question box. I thought that was awesome, that was great, because that is one way for students to interact with the teacher, and I feel like that was just something that really stood out to me. Students who are shy about raising their hands in class would appreciate the inquiry box. When using a question box, I will ensure that all students are contributing by placing papers in the box, even if they leave it blank. The PDHP syllabus is designed to foster students' holistic development, including both physical and mental growth. According to the course outline, by the second year of school, educators should have implemented measures to foster students' resilience and sense of security. In my third tutorial, and in the first practical class, we were taught a variety of passing and kicking techniques before playing the games. The coaches presented to us several abilities and fundamentals of AFL as they demonstrated the football, the white lines, and the yellow lines. Personally, I didn't really have much knowledge on AFL as I didn't necessarily have that passion as a child, and growing up as a teenager and adult, I never really had that passion for AFL. The coaches they aided us in our games by employing the usage of cones and other AFL sporting equipments. We would divide into teams and try to get the ball between the two main lines by kicking it through the center. We were told that the kicks inside the yellow lines are worth only 1 point, and therefore the team that scores a goal in the center of the field has a significant advantage as they would receive 6 points. So we all had to try to get it between the white lines to receive 6 points. Here I was able to put into practice what I had read about how AFL can aid kids in primary school by improving their kicks and throwing skills. Stage 1 PDHPE students are taught basic object handling abilities, which include throwing, catching, bouncing, kicking, and rolling as part of the PDHP curriculum. Students will then go on to stage 2, where they will learn how to utilize a wide range of tools to accomplish object control abilities in order to transmit control and receive objects such as bouncing, rolling, throwing, catching, kicking, striking, and dribbling. In addition, they will do exercises involving stability and body control. These abilities are developed further in the later phases by participation in various sport games. Due to this hands-on experience, I now know that the topic outcomes listed above for the PDHP curriculum are actually covered in standard AFL games. I plan to incorporate AFL games into my PE classes because of their usefulness in this regard. The last tutorial that I will be using for today's podcast will be the second prac that we had. In this lesson, we were given the opportunity to design our own games using the AFL equipment and techniques we had learned in the previous lesson. So for this activity, my group and I set up an obstacle course and invited other groups to participate. 5 people lined up behind separate cones and we gave them directions on what to do at each stage of the course. The first step is to go halfway down the line and bounce the ball, then wait till the next player taps you, and that's when you run back to the start. And you kind of just repeat this until every single person in the group had their turn. Because of the grass, the ball was not bouncing in the way we had expected, so we did change our strategy. Our group and I learned a lot from this experience, and we also benefited from the comments of other students, some of whom suggested that the course could have been confusing for them. According to the PDHP course outline, we needed to place more emphasis on the content outcome. Asked as educators to plan and carry out physical activity that helps students learn about the various aspects of health and fitness. Such activities might involve a fitness circus, a fun run, or an obstacle course. The children will be able to participate in exercises meant to improve their fitness while also discussing the positive effects such as activities may have on their health. Nonetheless, I think we did a great job of explaining the skills to the students. We used the example of the sandwich in between the hands. We said that imagine you are holding a sandwich, and we physically showed them what the ball should look like in between our hands. In addition, we utilized a student volunteer who followed our directions to demonstrate, and I think as a teacher this method will be helpful since it will allow me to show students exactly how to navigate specific parts of the obstacle course or any just sporting activity or a sports game. This semester, as part of my participation in the Primary Health and Physical Education unit, I was introduced to an interesting perspective on PDHPE. Prior to this class, I genuinely believe PDHPE focused mainly on just sports. PDHPE, I discovered, enables students to build self-management, interpersonal and movement skills, allowing them to become empowered, self-confident and socially responsible individuals. PDHPE has allowed me to realize that kids learn through movement, and the movement allows them to apply and modify their abilities across numerous situations in life. PDHPE learning experiences prepare students to actively contribute to and advocate for the health, safety, and well-being of themselves and others in the community and beyond the classroom. I will incorporate the outcome PD58 from the PDHPE syllabus into my teaching methodology by designing, executing, and evaluating individualized programs to improve health and involvement in a lifetime of physical activity. I want all my students to feel involved in the physical, cognitive, social, and emotional components of this course. I also want students to practice, develop, and polish all of these components since they are so essential for living a healthy, safe, and physically active life. The study of PDHPE offers students the chance to strengthen and cultivate resilience and connectivity, as well as to learn how to engage with people with respect. PDHPE equips students with the research, application, evaluation, and critical analysis skills necessary to maintain and enhance their health, safety, well-being, and engagement in physical activity. They acquire a dedication to the values and traits that foster and cultivate empathy, resiliency, respectful friendships, inclusion, and social justice. PDHPE reflects the dynamic nature of health, safety, well-being, and physical activity participation in the context of a society that is varied and continually changing. It emphasizes the impact that environmental variables have on human beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors, and it also tackles important health and physical activity topics for students. PDHPE provides students with a modern, relevant, demanding, and physically active experiential curriculum. The curriculum is intended to provide all schools with the flexibility to approach sensitive topics in a manner that reflects their unique environment and character. Students acquire self management, interpersonal, and movement skills through PDHPE, enabling them to become self reliant, self confident, and socially responsible citizens. PDHPE provides students with the knowledge and skills to advocate for the healthy, safety, and well being of themselves and others in the community and outside of school.